Good morning, friends. How are you today? I wonder what you are desperate for. Now, being desperate for something is almost like a hunger and like a thirst. It's saying that nothing that I drink, nothing that I eat satisfies me. It's that feeling of never having enough, that desperation that if I don't receive something now, if I don't see something happen, something desperate is going to happen to me. There's a few stories in the Bible, but one of them that stand out to me is the story of Zacchaeus in Luke chapter 19, and I want to read it for you. Luke chapter 19 says he entered, speaking about Jesus, he entered Jericho and was passing through, and behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich, and he was seeking to see who Jesus was. But on account of the crowd, he could not, because he was small in stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he hurried and came down and received him joyfully. And then when they saw it, and this is now speaking about the Pharisees and all the people who were looking at this story unfolding before them, when they had saw it, they all grumbled. He has gone in to be the guest of a sinner. Jesus has gone in to be the guest of a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of all my goods I give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold. And Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to this house, since he is also a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. See, Zacchaeus was a desperate man. He was rich, wealthy. He had everything he needed and more. But he still had this sense of desperation in him. And this drove him to want to see Jesus, to really see Jesus and see what all the hype around Jesus is about. But he couldn't see Jesus. He couldn't physically see Jesus because he was a small man. He was a short guy. He couldn't see past the crowds. So Zacchaeus did something. He climbed a sycamore tree so that he could get a glimpse of who Jesus is. And I see in Zacchaeus a man who has this absolute desperation to see Jesus and who would do anything to do that. For Zacchaeus, the crowd was in the way. And I wonder today if there's a crowd in your way stopping you from being able to see Jesus. Our crowds can be different kinds of things. It can be different people. It can be relationships in our lives. It can be the desire for a certain relationship in our lives that we just don't receive or that we're not getting fulfillment from. It could be physically people keeping you away from God, people with different viewpoints or different worldviews, people who don't love the Lord the way that you feel or that you desire to love the Lord, and they are keeping you away. It could physically be your stature, just that you are not in a position to see the Lord, that you're too busy, that you don't have time, that you're perhaps sick, or that you have so many other things going on in your life that you've completely moved Jesus out to the sidelines little by little, and now suddenly you can't see him through all the things that you've put between you and the Lord. I'm asking you this morning, will you be a Zacchaeus? Zacchaeus climbed a sycamore tree. He was willing to do whatever it takes so that he can get a glimpse of Jesus. What sycamore tree do you need to climb? Maybe you need to reschedule your day so that you have time to spend with the Lord. Maybe you need to change your focus and stop trying to look through the crowds at Jesus and come to a point where you can come be alone with Him, where you can have a clear view of Him. What is your sycamore tree? What do you need to do today in order to see Jesus more? Zacchaeus' name means pure and innocent. And there's a beautiful passage in Matthew chapter 5 where Jesus preaches the Beatitudes. And Matthew chapter 5 verse 8 says, "Blessed are the pure at heart, for they shall see God." Zacchaeus did not have his life together at all. He was a chief tax collector. He cheated people. He got rich from cheating people. He knew he was a sinner. But he was willing to do whatever it takes in order to have a relationship with Jesus again. We see Jesus seeing Zacchaeus in the tree, and Jesus approaches him and says to him, "Zacchaeus, come down. I'm going to come eat at your house today. I'm staying with you today." And Zacchaeus receives him joyfully. And in his heart, he's like already accepting that not only did I get to see Jesus, but Jesus saw me and He invites me to dine with Him. He invites me to be part of Him. And the people around Zacchaeus start grumbling, the Pharisees and the Jews. And Zacchaeus stands up and he says to Jesus, "Lord, whatever I need to do to have a relationship with you, if I've cheated anyone, I will pay them fourfold." That this was to fulfill the law in Moses' law, to pay back 4 times what you owe if you've stolen from someone or if you've defrauded someone. Zacchaeus was willing to do that. He was pure at heart. And because of that, he not only saw Jesus, but Jesus saw him. And Jesus' answer to him is that today salvation has come to this entire household because you truly believe you are truly a son of Abraham. Because Jesus came to seek and to save the lost. Jesus came to seek and save those who are desperate to see Him, those who are desperate for Him, those who are pure and innocent at heart, who are willing to do whatever it takes in order to have this close relationship, this intimacy with their Savior, Jesus Christ. So I want to encourage you today from Zacchaeus' story. Climb your sycamore tree. Do whatever you physically have to do to get close to Jesus. And then also I have a promise for you, that if you have a heart that seeks after the Lord, you will see Him. Blessed are the pure of heart, because they will see the Lord. Until next time, goodbye.